Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Two Chicks, Three Seats. So for today's episode, we're going to talk about one of our favorite topics in the world, food and beverage trends. I bet you all could have guessed that. Well, for me, it's beverage, but
food and beverage.
Definitely could have guessed that, I'm sure. But specifically food and beverage trends for the spring 2022, which officially begins on March 20th, which is like so soon. It's 9 days away from when, like, the Friday that we
That was good. That was good, right? On the fly
I do
math, Kate.
I do math. But while researching recent trends for this episode, we came across so many interesting articles about catering trends, new drinks to look out for, new ways to serve food, and more. And did you know that seltzers are apparently not the drink of the spring, according to some sources? How do you feel about that, Rachel? Does that make you upset?
So I was a little surprised when I first saw the headline, but then as I read the article about it, I was like, this kind of makes sense. So we'll dive into that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll dive into it. But so, let us know what you think about these trends and what you may be offering similarly this spring by reaching out to us via email at 2chicks3seats@tripleseat.com. And that's 2, the number 2, chicks, 3, the number 3 seats.
Heck yeah.
I always feel like I need to explain that. But I'm going to start it off, as I always do, with a cocktail. But this is, I think, Rachel told me to describe my favorite spring cocktail, which I feel like is a hard thing to do because spring is one of those seasons where cocktails specifically, and not like beer or wine, I feel like is definitely the vibe, because you can mix so many different flavors, and spring's all about all these new flavors. We're coming off of the winter where there's no flavors. And now we're into spring with all the flavors. So this is why I chose gin for my spirit of choice for the cocktail in spring. And my drink of choice is the bee's knees. So I'll start by explaining why gin. So gin, because gin, as most of you know, contains juniper berries, and juniper berries are very herbal. They give off a lot of effervescence. It's that you can mix them with a lot of different herbs and fruits and vegetables even. But I love gin, and I think gin in the spring is definitely the way to go. So the bee's knees is a super classic Prohibition era cocktail. It's made a bunch of different ways with, different mix-ins added to the classic recipe. So I'll talk about the classic recipe. It's simple. It's 2 ounces of gin. I like Hendrick's because it has a little cucumber flair to it, which is also springy. And then 3/4 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice, definitely fresh squeezed, do not buy bottled. And then a 1/2 ounce of honey simple syrup. And honey simple syrup is really easy to make. You literally just combine honey and water, equal parts. So start with a 1/2 cup, and then heat it over medium heat until it boils. Take it off the heat, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then you have honey syrup. So really easy to make. You can use full on honey, but it doesn't mix as well. So that's why you should make some honey syrup. But my twist is that I add some herbs to the honey syrup. So you could try lavender, you could try thyme, not together, I don't think, maybe, separate, but you would add those after you put it in the container to put in the fridge. You would add the sprigs of lavender or thyme or rosemary, whatever you want. Really anything works well with gin and lemon. And then you put it in the refrigerator overnight, and that will absorb the flavors. I've heard people do it in the boiling pot, but to me, that seems like you could risk burning it, and then burnt herbs is not a good vibe. So, so that's, that's my favorite spring cocktail, favorite spring spirit. And you can mix that up any way you like. So. And then, then you just mix all those ingredients together and pour them in a coupe glass, not over ice. I forgot to tell you how to make it. I got so excited about gin.
I love that. And I love that you said to add the herbs and add lavender. I feel like lavender just really makes me think of spring. 100%.
Right? Lavender is my first choice. But if you're more of a savory herb than lavender savory, but I think, that's my first choice for sure. And I think that goes well with pairing with appetizers, with entrees, with desserts, anything really. Nothing. Alone.
Spring and summer are also the best times. I feel like when people just get into the making your own cocktail mode. So I feel like this is the perfect time to get back into it and just,
I
go to the
agree.
grocery store, get all your ingredients and have a little party
And everything's so
to
fresh
celebrate.
in the grocery
Yeah.
stores in the spring, like everything's like on display and not like packaged from another country, because like you can actually grow things here during that time. We're in New England, so you can't grow anything in the winter, but
Spring has sprung.
anyway. Spring has sprung almost. Well, it's actually snowing here right now. Like really snowing.
It's literally really snowing right now, which is hilarious because spring is in 18 days from when this is released. So anyways, so great cocktail, Kate. I can't wait to make my own bee's knees. I'm determined. So the next article that talks about trends and what we will be sipping is So Long Seltzer. Here's what guests will be sipping in 2022. So this one was looking at 2022 as a whole, but also we're talking about it in a spring vision. And, since we're only 3 months into 2022, it's all very relevant right now.
Yes.
So first off, we have Liqueurs. So I found this funny quote from the article that I thought was kind of funny. So basically this article was quoting some different experts in the industry who work in the industry. And so they were saying some different things. And so this quote says, "I love an old fashioned and my go-to spirit is bourbon, but when you're in a professional setting, more than one whiskey to drink is a recipe for disaster. No one wants to be remembered as the one who had one too many. Hard seltzers, on the other hand, are light and refreshing, but carry a stigma. No one wants to be remembered as basic either. And fairly or unfairly, hard seltzer doesn't scream refined." So the solution is Amaros and or liqueurs mixed with soda and maybe a few other modifiers are about to make a big splash for the spring. So, what do you think about that?
I love that. So I always at like work events, we just had our holiday party, right? Late, obviously, because of the pandemic. But I started with a bourbon because I love bourbon and I wanted to have one bourbon on the rocks. And then from there, I definitely went way lighter because I, from experience, know that more than one bourbon at a work function or really any function, like I want to remember my friend's birthday too.
Right.
So, the only time I drink more than one bourbon in a sitting is like if I'm having a dinner party at my house and I don't have to leave and I'm just hosting friends and I'll drink bourbon all night, to be honest with you. But yeah, I agree with that. In seltzers, my husband's been really into seltzer lately. Like
Mike has been into hard seltzers.
He's late to the party. He's late to the party. And I realized that he's a big IPA drinker. So it's strange to me that he like gravitated to seltzers and he doesn't even like non-alcoholic seltzer. He doesn't like the bubbles. So I don't really understand why he likes them so much. But I tend to make fun of him when he like goes to like a nice bar and he's like, "Oh, I'll take a White Claw." I don't know what bar has like nice bar has Truly Untapped, but I'm just saying.
Right.
Maybe like a High Noon is a more refined version, right? And I love High Noons, but on the beach or like at a backyard barbecue or something, not
at a bar.
I don't know. Yeah. I tend to make fun of him. I feel bad for it.
Well, it's really funny because when I think of hard seltzers, I'm like, okay, this is like the quote unquote healthy alternative. Right. But in reality, it's still 100 calories for a drink. So, I mean, is that really necessarily healthier? I feel like just ordering a vodka with like seltzer water.
Seltzer or the Amaro with seltzer. I know that those drinks have a lot of calories. So like look for a liqueur that has less calories. They're out there. But I think the point being is that you're going to end up drinking more calories with the seltzers because you need 6 of them to get a buzz, whereas you could drink one vodka soda and be like, I'm good.
Well, you know what? My friends and I in college, well, actually, this year still, if you're really trying to go out and I start with pregame with a White Claw, I have a couple sips of it until it's like, there's room in the can and then I pour little Tito's into it. So then it's it's a dirty
last
claw.
Year around this time, I did a Cocktails with Kate and James where I showed people how to make cocktails with seltzers because I was like, it's not enough. And I don't want to drink 6 of these things. I want to drink one, but they're delicious. So maybe add some vodka or I added a few things to mine. So I get it. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Well, an interesting other part that I was going to say at the end of this article was that just in general, hard seltzer sales at retailers are declining. Like there's so many other ready to drink beverages that are way above. And I'll mention a couple of those in a minute, but it's just like, I feel like hard seltzer had its moment back in like 20. I feel like it was before that. It was when I was in college, 20, 15.
Really
15,
that far
16.
ago? I don't think I
Yeah.
drank. I don't think I drank hard seltzers until I don't like things that are too sweet. And I really like high noons. I keep saying that, but because I feel like they're less sweet than the others. And I don't think I drank seltzers until those came out. And I feel like those were like 2019, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Well, but that's vodka.
It's
Well,
vodka.
yeah,
But it is a seltzer. I mean,
that's true.
it's vodka soda. And there's
Right.
only 100 calories.
Right.
And they're only 4.5% ABV. You
Yeah.
want to know anything else about them? Clearly, I like them.
I don't gravitate towards the high noons, honestly. I think I had one time and it gave me a stomach ache, and so I don't know what happened there, but yeah. So basically, seltzers aren't the moment anymore. So people, sorry, Mike, to break it to you, but you're gonna have to stick with your IPA and take the manlier version. Okay, so another thing to think about for drinks that are popular right now is local ingredients, the article talked about, which I feel like, it's always been a thing, but especially like you were saying in the springtime. So using local organic ingredients and homemade elixirs in cocktails. So for example, this article was talking about the Joseph Nashville's Rooftop Bar, Denim. They make a purple Martin cocktail, which is made out of butterfly pea flower infused La Luna mezcal, honey, lemon, and ginger. And then there's an Italian restaurant called Yolan, which makes a cocktail using local pecans infused with bourbon and is made with biscotti liquor.
That sounds amazing. That's dessert in a glass right there.
That sounds amazing. I feel like it's the attention to detail and like the real pairings of all the ingredients in the drinks just make that really special. So
absolutely.
That's really springtime fun. And then virtual mixology, they were saying how, 2021, obviously the pandemic, but I feel like still in 2022, it's really shown an increase in interest for like at home mixing your own drinks and making your own drinks. And everyone just loves to make their own drinks now more than ever before. And so people are trying to recreate restaurant cocktails at home for their own parties. And so they're like, taking information that they see from the social media from these restaurants or when they do these mixology classes. So virtual mixology classes are definitely going to remain popular, pandemic aside, moving into the spring and just throughout the rest of the year. Another trend for 2022 is more tequila. So according to
tequila's everywhere, huh? Everyone has a tequila.
Well, I'm going to read these stats and then you tell me what you think about the growth of tequila. So according to a BevAlc survey at the end of the year, 80% of, so the end of 2021, 80% of retailers said that they're going to be carrying more tequila into 2022 than last year, so it will be on par with bourbon. Tequila has grown to become an everyday drink staple, just like vodka and whiskey. And then also it makes a point about how celebrity brands have also increased the awareness of tequila. So Casamigos by George Clooney, Código 1530, which is co-owned by George Strait, 818 Tequila, which is Kendall Jenner's brand. And then De Leon, I've never had that before, by Sean Combs or P. Diddy, his stage name. So I thought that was interesting statistics, but what do you think from obviously working in the industry? Can you tell that this rise in tequila is just like crazy and now it's just
I think this
vodka?
is like I feel like there's way more tequila drinks on menus now than when I was working in hospitality, like in the restaurants in hospitality. And I feel like like obviously like Mexican restaurants have always had tequila all over the menu, but I think just everyday bistros or whatever else are using tequila a lot more. I love tequila, specifically Casamigos is like my go-to, but I think that it's always had that stigma of like, I'm in Cancun and I'm taking tequila shots and now I'm like half dead on the floor in the hotel room. Like, I feel like it's always had that stigma, but I've always loved tequila, like tequila shots of like silver tequila, silver Patron back in the day was my go-to shot. And, I didn't need more than one. It was one. And I felt like, I was like, all right, I'll have a beer now. But like, that has always been my go-to. And tequila, for those who don't know out there, tequila is an upper, whereas other spirits are downers. So that's why you get like, a lot of people are like, oh, I never get tired when I drink tequila and always have like a good time. And there are clearly some people who can't drink tequila. And I feel like that stems from like a situation in high school where maybe they drank too much like tequila sunrises in the woods with their friends or something. I don't know.
A scarring experience.
Not speaking from experience. But yeah, I think tequila is definitely making a big splash right now. all of the celebrity brands, like I shouldn't say this because I love George Clooney's tequila. So clearly I'm okay with celebrities having tequilas. I just think it's getting a little crazy. Like Kendall Jenner, what do you know about tequila?
I know that's definitely where there is some criticism. Have you had it? I had her 818 tequila. I've had it one time because yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, it was at one point harder to find over here since she's in California, you know, my girl Kendall.
Gotcha. I'll try. If I see it, I'll get it. Why not? I'll give it a shot, but literally a shot. But yeah.
That's funny. It's interesting though. Tequila is the moment. Yeah, and then one last other thing to look out for this spring and just in general right now is CBD and ready to drink drinks. So CBD drinks as ready to drink drinks. That's a tongue twister.
Drinks.
And products from brands like Crisp and Crude, Recess. I've never had one myself, but it's always intrigued me. And I see them at the stores, but I think I just don't know enough about them or like, you know, so I've never purchased.
I've had that brand, that second brand. And they sell it at the store down the street from my house and I'll get one whenever. They have like a lavender one that's really, there's also this company called Dram Soda that makes a really delicious, it's called Beauty Tonic. And it's like, it almost tastes like gin. It's non-alcoholic, but it's like orange and thyme and something else. It's delicious.
Interesting.
But I like them. I definitely feel a little more relaxed when I drink one. I don't know if it's just me thinking I do, but it doesn't take much for me when it comes to those ingredients for me to like feel something.
So let me ask a dumb question. Is there any alcohol in a CBD infused drink or is it just CBD infused?
So the ones that you listed there, like I know like the Recess, I don't know how you say that does not have alcohol in it. I've had those. They sell them at the store, like on the corner, unless they make ones with alcohol. I've never heard of Crisp and Crude. So I don't know, but I think it would be interesting to mix because obviously restaurants were doing it, but I remember back in the day, we talked about restaurants using CBD in cocktails. And the article we used talked about how it's hard to mix a cocktail on the spot that has enough CBD in it to actually give you the benefits of CBD. So it's almost like a waste of money because they're going to upcharge you for the CBD, but like, you're not going to feel anything. Whereas these canned ones can offer enough to make you feel
that's like how they're made.
Yeah. So I'd be interested if I see a CBD like canned cocktail with alcohol in it, I will 100% try it out. Why not? It's got to be wicked expensive though, because I feel like seltzers are already overpriced. And then to add in CBD, it's going to be like, whoa. But
I know now I'm determined to look out for one.
Yeah, I'm going to look too. Let me know if you find any brands that you like, because I will. And listeners, if you have them, let us know, because I'm definitely interested in that. I just don't know how, like, mixing the alcohol and CBD together, if it actually makes you feel the benefits of CBD, like, would you just pass out?
Well, I was going to say, are you going to become crossfaded?
Am I just going to be like, yeah, right? I don't know. Is it like I know it's not THC, so it's not like taking a gummy and drinking.
Right.
But I've taken like CBD pills and drank, and I was like tired, just really tired. I didn't drink a lot. I had like one drink and took like a CBD gummy that was literally just CBD.
Okay. It's like the battle of the two substances trying to go after your mind.
Exactly. So I don't know, but interesting. I'd be interested to know more about that.
We'll see, but they say that over 50% of retailers believe that cannabis and CBD-infused beverages have the industry's biggest growth potential. So I think that'll be interesting to continue to watch grow. And then lastly, with like the ready-to-drink drinks, I needed to shout this out because I was so excited to see that Loverboy is one of the biggest, most popular drinks that has been trending, which is a sparkling hard tea. And if you don't know, it's made by the founder of the drink is on Summer House, which is my favorite TV show, Kyle Cook. So love Loverboy. I buy it every time I see it at the liquor store.
I love Loverboy too. It's everywhere where I live.
Genuinely love it
all the time.
I do.
Yeah, it's so good. I like all the flavors too. It took a little bit of growing on me because I feel like it does, because it's so low in sugar, which is great. It does have a little bit of that fake sugar aftertaste, I feel like. But I normally am totally against that taste, but it's delicious.
And it's definitely a
I can't say anything
great
bad about it.
springtime drink too, because it's like
Absolutely.
teas. So
Yeah.
obviously iced tea, you
Yep.
think spring, warm weather.
Mhm.
And then sip margs I've never had, but those are canned, I'm assuming
Those are
margaritas.
delicious. Yes, I've had those. Of course I have. They're really good. Really good. They have different
I
flavors too. Very
I
good.
think I've been like trying to just, stick with the basics of like vodka or tequila and soda to be
Yeah.
like the skinny girl, but I think I need to try out some more and like expand my canned drinks expertise, because it's like you go into a liquor store and it's so fun just looking at all the drinks and like
Yeah.
how they package them, what's in what, like, compare the
Mhm.
ABV levels.
Yeah, definitely compare
What's
the
gonna do the
ABV levels
job?
because yeah, I've gotten myself in trouble before though with like those like they have like gin canned drinks and there's some of
Oh,
them are really I mean, I haven't tried them all, but I tried one and it was delicious, but I didn't
yeah,
realize after I like chugged the thing that it was like 8% and I was like,
right.
and I'm done.
And that'll be the only one I'm drinking today.
That's about it for me. But anyways, so another article that talks about spring events or summer events are 5 drink station ideas for summer or spring events. And this is from BizBash as well. So as soon as the weather is warm this spring, events will be back outside. Obviously, I feel like a lot of people are still going to be, wanting those outdoor events just to keep the spread from spreading.
Inspiring.
Does that make sense? But spring is the perfect season for bridal showers, baby showers, graduations, and many other gatherings of big groups in outdoor settings. And everyone wants to get outside. If it wasn't snowing out right now, I'd probably be outside. But the most important part of every event is obviously the bar. So consider trying one of these setups at an event you are hosting this spring to create that Insta-worthy bar that all your guests will be lined up at, which is, obviously important. It's always about the Insta-worthy situations. So the first one was a mobile bar truck. So like a mobile food truck, there are also many iterations of mobile drink trucks that you can rent as an added part to your event. I went to a wedding that had Frosé on tap from this like
Love
Frosé
that.
truck. It was, and they also served regular rosé, but it was pretty awesome. But the truck that we're looking at in this article specifically is a rustic and rosy pink themed vehicle with the bar and display. And there's a pretty backsplash, a wooden countertop, glasses, drinks on tap, probably wine, I would imagine. But it's a really pretty, and it's similar. The one that at the wedding was very similar. It was like white and wood, and it was really pretty. There's also cantina inspired station. So make your drink station blend in with the rest of the party with its own stand, which is really cool. Specifically a cantina inspired stand for a party that has catered Mexican food, which I feel like a lot of people do. Mexican food is one of the highest catered meals for events because it's easy and almost everyone likes it. So I thought that was a cute idea. And then a simple self-serve station is another idea. This is a more budget-friendly and simple option for smaller groups, or could be a self-serve bar station that can even be done on your own. So start with your base that that holds all your products, and then look at what you want on your bar station: glasses, shakers, alcohol garnishes, and then decorate with balloons, ribbons, or whatever else you want to use. I think that's a cute idea. And then the 360-degree island bar. So for larger events, you may need a larger 360-degree bar where 3 to 4 bartenders can work making drinks for the party. The one that we were looking at in this article was done by Los Angeles-based Everly Rose Events, who used a 12-foot, 360-degree bar from Reveille Event Design that quickly became the focal point of the event thanks to over-the-top balloons and florals decorated on it. So very cute. And yeah, that's all she wrote. I feel like it's, some cute ideas there. A lot of them you could do, one couple of them you can do yourself. But yeah, I mean, I think everyone wants a drink, but if you make it more fun and make it the focal point of the event, draw our attention to it, especially outdoor events. What do I want to have an event? Now I want to have an event. Let's host an event. Does my daughter's second birthday warrant a 360 bar?
Yes. Hello. Didn't for her first birthday, didn't you do like hundreds of dollars worth of Mexican catering? So she turned 1. She wasn't eating that.
She was like, didn't even know it was her birthday. She was turning 1. So I was like, this is for the adults, not for the kids. I think we talked about this in an episode, how Hispanic culture does something called the Uno. And it's literally like, it's an adult party for your kids when they turn 1.
Oh my
And
God.
it's at night. It goes to like from like midnight to 5 a.m. And I have friends who do these for their kids. And I'm like, that's genius. Because the
I
kid
didn't know
doesn't care
that.
nor know.
Is
Right.
this
So they do
sleep?
like a family little get together and then they put the kid to bed and then they have this Uno party. It's all the adults, they just get hammered.
So it sounds like you're having a dose party for the second
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah. I'm having a dose party.
Yes, my
Oh,
RSVP
boy.
is yes, I will be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing that we're going to talk about is a third Biz Bash article called 2020 Forecast, What's Next in Event Catering, which again was kind of looking at 2022 as a whole, but I think is really relevant right now as we're just in our third month of 2022. So I think this was kind of interesting to refresh us on some trends. So this article was highlighting some top food and beverage professionals to share their biggest predictions and their favorite trends that are going to be happening for 2022 and just some things that you can be keeping in mind to incorporate into your spring menus. So what do these experts say? So the first expert is Thomas Whalen, who's the director of banquets for Levy Restaurants at the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center. Duh. And he says that guests are looking for bold and unconventional flavors. So he was talking about how during the pandemic, people were cooking at their home kitchens and they were trying making different foods that maybe they had never eaten before, just all of us killing time while we were at home. And this kind of led to the exploration of people's palates, just opening up to new things and trying new things. So Whelan was saying how his team was seeing a rise in requests for za'atar and saffron and different curries, which were things that people were normally hesitant to add to their menus in the past before this point. And so a trend in 2022 has really been to experiment with just interesting, unique, and regional flavors, which I think is good. And, everyone's expanding their palates and learning to try new things. And I'm all on board with that because I love to try new foods. Another expert in the article, who is named Dana Pelicano, who's the VP of Global F&B at Marriott, was saying how people are quote, experience starved and ready to be wowed. They want food they didn't make at home, and they want food that tastes like a certain region because so many people couldn't travel for so many months, which I thought was another interesting way to look at it. And then the article also noted how there's an increased interest in food and flavors from the Asia Pacific regions outside of Greater China. And industry experts have kind of anticipated for a couple of years now that Filipino food would go more mainstreamed, and it has become more popular in more metro areas. And I think this whole idea of just broad adoption of different cultures across the world is just going to continue. I think that they had a term for it, but just into the whole national food sphere. The national food sphere is my new term for it, but it's just everywhere. They're just adopting all the flavors and things will become more popular. A couple of years ago, maybe that kind of food wasn't as popular around the world, but now I think they use Thai food as an example. It's just like everyone has Thai food. And so hopefully more cultures and different foods and different entrees like that will continue to grow into everywhere in the world. So that's fun.
That. I worked with a Filipino chef, and she sometimes would make family meal, and it was always like the most amazing. Like everyone would be like, "Oh my God, is she working?" Because if she is, then like I'll have family meal. Otherwise, I'm gonna go get a sandwich next door because I don't want whatever they're gonna serve. Leftovers from 3 weeks ago. Yeah, her food was amazing. So that's interesting to me. I would definitely check out a Filipino restaurant if it was similar to what.
Yeah,
made.
I love that. So another one was an elevated take on traditional foods. So the experts in the article were saying how they've been getting requests for elevated take on just your standard foods. So an example, you have to explain to me what this means because I don't exactly know what this means, but they have an action statement station with a huge marshmallow that they briquette s'mores with.
Really?
How I don't understand what that would mean.
I don't understand what that is either. Like briquette's got to be something like, is that like you like cutting something? Like, I don't know. I'm looking it up, Rachel.
That's really all that they said. And I meant to do more research to figure out exactly what it is. But if someone's listening and understands what that means, that was like their first examples of taking a traditional food and making it elevated.
A briquette, also spelled, is a compressed block of coal dust or other combustible material used for fuel as well as for kindling to start a fire. So it's a coal fire.
Okay.
I guess they do it over a coal fire. Maybe it has a different taste. There's also a
Okay.
restaurant in New Orleans called Briquette. If anyone's wondering, it's got to be French, right? That's why, like, when I saw the word, I was like, it has to be French.
Right.
I've never, but that's what keeps coming up. You can cook like briquette cooking, which is like using coal to cook.
So maybe they do
Interesting.
something interesting with whatever they do at this action station.
It must be like a coal fire, which
Right.
is, different from like obviously a gas or a wood fire. It
Mhm.
has to taste different, I would
Right.
imagine. But I feel like s'mores on campgrounds, you're doing it a lot of times you're over a coal because you have those little coal,
Right.
set areas. I mean, wood too, but
Right.
interesting.
So that's
Very
something interesting. Maybe if you're listening and you've heard of something like that, let us know because we're a little confused.
And if we're wrong about what that is, please tell us because
but
Google isn't always right.
Fun fact about me, I love anything s'mores flavored. So I would totally be down on this marshmallow thing. So I would be,
I do love s'mores
whatever
flavored,
it means
like,
to be briquetted
s'mores. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, I love s'mores too. Like the combination of marshmallow and chocolate and graham cracker together is,
phenomenal.
I'm with you there.
So something else they said, someone else was just requesting a unique and different chicken and waffle dish. Someone else wanted an elevated corn dog. So I thought this was also interesting because it's saying how people want these elevated basics, elevated traditional foods, which is a little bit different than the previous point that was talking about wanting like bold and unconventional flavors. So maybe they do tie together because like by making it more elevated, it has a little bit of a twist on the original flavor.
Yeah, so it's saying that like people want things that they're not that they've never had, right? That are like all like
different countries,
different for the region. Yeah, different. But then if you want something traditional, they want it elevated now. So I guess that makes sense. I want an elevated corn dog. What is that all about? Like, is it like sprinkled with truffle dust? Like, what is it?
There wasn't a photo, but we can imagine.
I mean, I'm all about that. I love corn dogs. I don't even like hot dogs, and I love corn dogs.
Yeah.
Little fun fact about Kate. Rachel likes s'mores, and I like corn dogs.
I think I probably hadn't had a corn dog until I was an adult. Like that's not something that my parents would feed me when I was a kid.
Well, so I normally wouldn't feed my children corn dogs, but we went to a fair and Colby had one and he fell in love with it. And now every time I go to Trader Joe's and he sees the frozen corn dogs, he's like, I want those. And I know when I buy them that I'm going to eat half of them. So
you don't buy them?
Trader Joe's has some really delicious frozen ones. Like I'm telling you, they're really
I feel like I would have noticed
in the air fryer. So they're like crispy.
Maybe I feel like I do know where in my Trader Joe's that these frozen corn dogs live. So maybe
check those out.
Maybe I need to look at my missed childhood of corn dog experience and test them out.
And elevate that.
Yeah. Or maybe I'll just find one at a restaurant elevated.
Yeah, do that. It's probably better.
And then lastly, from this article talking about event catering in 2022, just another point back to our love for cocktails. Specialty cocktails are having a moment. Susan Lax, who's the CEO of Ridgewell's Catering in DC, says how, quote, specialty drinks are no longer just weddings. They're often the main special touch for a standard event. So they're talking about varieties of the Moscow Mule, martinis, Manhattans, all with a twist. Bar garnish is huge, and not just lemons and limes, but dried citrus wedges and fresh herbs. Other experts in the article were agreeing with this and saying that every event that they had been working with involves elevated cocktails and exactly what we had said before, CBD-infused drinks or juices infused with herbs. So that's kind of touching back to those like natural organic ingredients that we mentioned before. And then bottled cocktails, non-alcoholic cocktails are also on the rise. On non-alcoholic, we didn't mention before, but that's definitely, I feel like, trending with the whole wellness. I mean, the wellness moment has been a moment for a while, but I think the healthy cocktails thing has been around for a while. And I guess the non-alcoholic ones too.
Yeah, I think that it's like nice to have, if you want to not drink alcohol, it's nice to have an array of options and not just like, the old school, like non-alcoholic beers that I never understood why people drank. Although when I was pregnant, I drank them a couple times because I just wanted beer.
I think that my TikTok For You page is like targeting it's like all these people who are like looking at just going sober, not like becoming sober, but it's just like, it's talking all about, they call it like a damp lifestyle where you like, just like don't drink hard alcohol or you just limit certain things. And so when they're talking about this, they're talking about just all the alternatives that they have. So I've heard about just like the kombucha, alcohol
Yep, I
drinks
love
that maybe
kombucha.
have like low ABV content, or maybe they drink those in like in place that because they kind of look like, or they have the non-alcoholic kombucha, just regular kombucha, because they
Right.
look like they're non-alcoholic beverage. Well, they are, but like so, but it kind of
But they
still
look like a
looks like it.
cocktail. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's my
Yeah.
point. So I don't know. It's just it's interesting that first my For You page on TikTok targeted that for me. It's probably because of that silly, that not silly, but
That's
that
funny.
book that you
They're like,
sent to
Rachel,
the team.
time to calm
Fill it
down.
in. It's the Quit Like a Woman book that I was reading,
Oh, you read that
one.
too?
I
Yeah.
started
I feel
it,
like,
not
yeah,
done.
I
You sent that to the team.
I did. I have mixed feelings on that book. I'm not gonna, I have very mixed feelings, but that's why I wanted everyone to read it, because I wanted everyone to like have mixed feelings with me.
Well, I mean, it definitely tells you one thing, but you're not going to change your lifestyle about, well, at least not us.
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm in any position to like, I know actually that I do not have a drinking problem.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I drink alcohol, and yes, it's poison that you're putting in your body. So
Right.
any amount of it probably isn't the best idea ever, but like, I can live without it.
Right.
But with that said, I thought what was interesting in that book was like the whole background on the marketing of alcohol to women. And
Yeah.
so that's what drew me in the beginning, because I was like, this is super interesting. Like she's right, like about this. But then I started to hate her.
See, I don't think I haven't finished it yet. So I'm still in the marketing section and like
Super interesting.
how they compare it to like big tobacco and just the change. I had no idea, and just the women's place and all of it, and how they're targeting women and
and like the whole mommy wine break or whatever, like all these things that like are all over TikTok and all over social media, and like the t-shirts and that culture. And like I get that that's like, and I don't care. I would never purchase a shirt that was like mommy needs a wine break. Like that's not my vibe, obviously. But I don't know. I was like kind of like, wow, that's interesting. So if any females out there, and men for that matter, Quit Like a Woman is a very interesting book if you're into like the history of marketing and in alcohol. And also maybe if you have a drinking problem and want to stop. Which I am not doing.
I don't have a drinking problem. It's not me.
No, you do not. It was funny because when I was reading that book, my husband was like, something you want to talk about?
Well, that's really funny, because I feel like I was embarrassed to tell people I was reading it, because it's like, I'm not reading it for that reason. I'm reading it because I've heard about that it's interesting, and I've seen people talk about it. So
it is funny. And then when the new Sex and the City, like they made Miranda have like a drinking problem, which was it was the dumbest storyline ever. And then she ordered that book on Amazon when she was drunk at night. And I was like, this is so funny. And that whole storyline, by the way, was so stupid. Not to go on a tangent. I'm already going on a tangent, but that whole storyline was so stupid. I'm sorry. Like Sex and the City is all about drinking Cosmos at Tuesday at noon. Like it just is. So you can't change that now.
Right. I have to say I have not watched it, because I haven't watched the recent ones. I watched the first like 5, but anyways, that's here nor there.
Now that we've completely gone off rails here and started talking about Sex and the City, thank you. If men are listening to this episode, they've already stopped. So thank you to all the females out there listening to this episode. We hope that you got some, useful tips that you can use this spring in your restaurants and venues and catering. If you have any ideas, as always, for upcoming episodes, please reach out to us. Or if you think you want to be a guest on 2 Chicks, 3 Seats, we're always open to talking to you about that. So reach out to us, 2 Chicks, 3 Seats at tripleseat.com, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of 2 Chicks, 3 Seats,
your events industry podcast, brought to you by Tripleseat, the industry leader for event management software.
Find out more about Tripleseat at tripleseat.com.